Adequate preparation have been made by the Akwa Ibom state government to give the departed one-time governor of the erstwhile Cross River State, Chief Donald Dike Tebet, a befitting burial today, Friday, December 11, 2015. A statement issued by the Commissioner for Information and Communications, Mr. Nneka Numana, states that the late Senator Donald Tebet served as a member of the Constituent Assembly from 1977 to 1978, Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1979 to 1983, Governor of the Old Cross River State in 1983, and a member of the Constitutional Conference in 1994. Mr. Umana disclosed that a sing-song night was organized Wednesday, December 9, 2015 at the Apostolic Church, Ikodokoro Road, Abak, and that a similar event had held yesterday, Thursday, December 10, 2015 in his country home, Ikodokoro Namlogo government area. The Information Commissioner listed some of the activities lined up for the high-profile burial, to include lying in state of the body of the late Senator Tebet at the Akwa Ibom State Executive Council chambers today at 8 o'clock in the morning, and a special court session at the Judiciary Headquarters Uyo in his honor at 9 o'clock in the morning. His remains will be committed to Mother Earth on the same date as today, Friday, at his country home, Ikodokoro Namlogo government area, after funeral service to be conducted by the Apostolic Church, Ikodokbene Field, Akwa Ibom State. The statement invites friends and sympathizers to join the government of Akwa Ibom State to accord the illustrious son and elder statesman, Senator Donald Dike Tebet, a befitting farewell. The motion on notice on curbing the abuse of traditional injunctions by village heads in Akwa Ibom State, which was earlier rejected by the House due to improper presentation, has been received for deliberation. The sponsor of the bill, Mr. Mark Eset, representing the Nsrata State constituency, said such practices should be strongly condemned as they stall and hinder development. Mr. Eset prayed the House to call on relevant agencies of government to beam their searchlight on village councils to regulate their activities as well as curb the collection of exorbitant development levies from investors. The member representing Esede Kedi Borno State constituency, Mr. Usoro Panuso, moved for the motion to be adopted for deliberation by the House and was seconded by the member representing the Sinodam State constituency, Sir Nsentwe. However, the Speaker, Elder Nneka Nuko, referred the motion to the House Committee on Lands, Housing and Urban Renewal for in-depth study before presenting to the House for deliberation. Also, the Speaker observed that some management staff of the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company were in the Assembly to honor the invitation of the House, but said they will not be received because their Managing Director did not accompany them. The Speaker gave them until Thursday for the Managing Director to bring his management staff to meet with the members in an executive session. Meanwhile, the member representing Ona State constituency, Otuekon Nseisen, has advised well-placed indigents of Ona local government area to rally around their son and governor of the state to ensure his administration's resounding success. Otuekon Nseisen was speaking when he received the leaders and members of the Forum of Senior Public Servants of Ona region and a courtesy visit. He said they couldn't do that by contributing ideas and other forms of technical input to the administration. He appreciated the group's vision of coming together with the aim of acquiring greater goals for Ona and urged them to heed the clarion call for Ona unity.
Promote his vision.
Addressing the lawmaker on behalf of the forum, of Senior Public Servants of Onao Region, Chief Magistrate Edward Macaulay, said the group works in the interest of the progress of Onao local government area, whose level of development they feel concerned about. It says sons and daughters of Onao have been leading light in different spheres of endeavor in Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria, but the path-finding rules have hardly rubbed off on their community. Magistrate Macaulay observed that although it is not a political group, the Forum of Senior Public Servants of Onao Region is willing to serve as a think tank for the legislator by providing ideas and suggestions to help him succeed in representing Onao local government area.
Suggestion.
We do apologize for the poor visuals in that story, and we go on a short break. When we come back, the news continues. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. Faithful of the Church of Christ drawn from Akwa Ibom State and beyond, last Sunday converged on the worship hall of the Church of Christ, 140 Accra Road, Uyo, for a reception and intercessory prayers for the new Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, Professor Anifio Essien. The stories they have presented.
During the prayer meet open, the chairman on the occasion, Professor Nkeruwe Mudoka, said members of the church were excited with the elevation of one of their own to an enviable position of Vice Chancellor of a federal university in the country, describing the development as the first of its kind in the life of the Churches of Christ in Nigeria. Professor Udoka, who is the head of Department Communication Arts, University of Uyo, further described the gathering as an august event to thank God for his favors upon the church and intercede on behalf of Professor Essien, a member of the church, for a peaceful tenure in the University of Uyo, noting that there were qualified persons in the Lord's church for whatever leadership position in the society. The Professor of Political Communication expressed confidence in the competence, capacity and capability of Professor Essien to take UNIO to the next level through remarkable achievements in the next 5 years, and assured him of the prayers of the saints to enable him to succeed.
And it is a lesson to all Christians that we should always wait on the Lord. When it is his time, he knows what pleases him. This is the first Christian to be the Vice Chancellor of a federal university in this country.
Welcoming members to the august event, the host minister, Evangelist Effiong Ufort, described the Professor Essien as a worthy and illustrious brother in the Lord's Church, observed that the crowd at the event was a demonstration of love and solidarity in the brotherhood, assuring him that God, who lifted him, would stand by him throughout his tenure in the University of Uyo.
Please feel free to welcome success, touch success, shake hands with success, feel success, dream success, share with success, dine with success, and embrace success.
Preaching on the theme, When the Righteous Are in Authority, Minister Emmanuel Inyang of the Church of Christ number 140 Aka Road, Uyo, reminded Professor Essien that God puts people in authority to do good to all manner of people, stating that it was an abomination for leaders to commit wickedness because God appoints people into positions of leadership. Minister Yang noted that God rules over the world and gives power to whoever he pleases. On her part, the wife of the Vice-Chancellor, Mrs. Roselyn Enefio Essien, thanked the Lord's Church for the honor done her family. In his response, Professor Enefio Essien said he was humbled by the massive crowd of saints who turned out at the event to honor him. He thanked the Churches of Christ in Akwa Ibom State and beyond for organizing the reception and for interceding for him, describing the event as a show of love. Professor Essien said he will strive to justify the confidence reposed in him.
Thank you for this wish, and I promise you that I will not forget it. I treasure it. Whatever I can do to help the propagation of the gospel, I promise to do that at all times.
A goodwill message was presented by Dr. Nkeruwe Medemekong of the Department of History and International Studies, University of Uyo, on behalf of UNIU staff and others.
The role of members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations (NIPR) has been described as pivotal, especially with the current state administration's spiritual rebirth and moral transformation campaign. This was the position of the secretary to the Akwa Ibom State Government site, Ekamba Umoren, who was a guest at the Institute's special roundtable discussion on the Dakada initiative held at the Image House Information Drive, Uyo. The story is presented in our studios.
The organizers of the event, the state government site, Ekamba Umoren, described the event as one which will create a platform for stakeholders and senior citizens to come together to give expert views on the Dakada initiative. Sir Umoren, who is also a member of the Institute, noted that Dakada is a clarion call on the people to believe in themselves and work towards contributing their quota to the development of the state.
I am particularly thrilled by the subject matter of today's discussion, which is the espousal of the Dakada initiative. May I, at this onset, thank most sincerely the organizers of this public-spirited event, which I know will further deepen the concept of the initiative and broaden its understanding.
On his part, the Commissioner for Information and Communications, Mr. Onyeka Numana, said the Dakada initiative is timely, describing it as a boost on the people's can-do spirit. Mr. Numana, who was the lead discussant at the event, called on youth and the entire citizenry of the state at home and in the diaspora to support Governor Udom Emmanuel in his drive to take Akwa Ibom to higher heights.
Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. We are all the same in this notion. The potential for greatness lives within each of us. So you must dream it. You must envision it. You must decide that you will make something happen in life.
Advocating the need to take the Dakada message to every part of the state, the chairman on the occasion, Professor Des Wilson, said it was apt to purge the minds of the citizenry of primordial sentiments and suspicion. In her welcome address, the state chairman of the institute, Mrs. Elsie Udofia, said the event is one of their regular activities aimed at contributing to the socio-economic and political well-being of the state. Mrs. Udofia commended the human capacity development, industrialization and infrastructure drive of the Udom Emmanuel administration, and also seized the opportunity to appeal for government support to the institute.
Permit me to commend His Excellency, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, on the achievements so far recorded by his administration as evidence in human capital development, industrialization, road infrastructure, and agricultural development, among others.
She lauded the administration for appointing some members of the institute into positions of responsibility. Notable discussants at the event included the AKBC Director General, Pastor Enetie Ukwe, Kipok, Pastor Imoabasi Jacob, and Elder Udeme Nana, who took time in educating participants on the need to rise to their faith in greatness. Samuel Ayara, AKBC 45.
ExxonMobil has presented educational materials to pupils in public primary schools to boost their academic performance. The event, ExxonMobil Academic Excellence Reward, which held in Eket, drew pupils and head teachers from Eket, Ona, Ibana, and Esreke local government areas. Aneti Akpaitam witnessed the event and filed this report presented in our studios.
Aimed at supporting and encouraging academic excellence in public primary schools, the program, which has been on for about 5 years now, has helped in identifying high performers, recognizing and encouraging them to achieve more. Declaring the event open, the Managing Director, Mobile Producing Nigeria Unlimited, who was represented by Mr. Mike Atta, said the program is a demonstration of his company's commitment to the development of education within its host communities and the states. In the past 5 years, the company, he said, has committed over 57 million naira into promoting and ensuring quality education in the state. He thanked the state governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, for sustaining the free education program of the past administration.
ExxonMobil over the years has shown consistent commitment towards raising the standard of education in the state and sustaining the free and compulsory education through various sponsorship in the sector, which is an illustration of our corporate social responsibility.
Also speaking, the Commissioner for Education, Elder Anyakan Atman, represented by the Director of Education Monitoring in the Ministry, Mr. Udeme Udofia, thanked the sponsors for partnering with governments in the development of education in the states. He, however, restated the state government's commitment to reintroducing boarding in the school system.
What we will continue to do is to showcase the people that will represent us in the future. This program is symbolic, and it was just a pilot. We have about 5,100 pupils to honor because of their academic excellence.
5 pupils from each of the schools selected from the 4 local government areas were rewarded for performance and were given bags containing stationeries. A head teacher and a pupil from one of the benefiting schools expressed appreciation to the sponsors.
Workers in the Akwa Ibom State Civil Service have been charged to key into the Dakada spirit. The head of Civil Service, Mrs. Ekarabon Akpan, gave this charge when staff of the State Secondary Education Board, led by the Permanent Secretary, Elder Akpan Solomon Akpan, visited her in her office. Mrs. Akpan commended the Permanent Secretary and the Board for ensuring effective and regular supervision of secondary schools through the Board's regular visits to schools, noting this has enhanced teachers and students' punctuality and commitment to duty, which is necessary for effective teaching and learning. She stressed the important role teachers play in character molding, upbringing and intellectual development of children, and expressed her gratitude to them for their contributions, but advised the board to put in place a reward system for those who excel in their duties by taking a cue from the Inoyo Toro Foundation, an NGO pioneering the motivation of teachers through its yearly award. On accommodation, promotion, vehicles, funding and other problems faced by the board, the head of civil service said her office will channel to the governor their problems for possible solution. Mrs. Ekarabong Akpan, however, encouraged the board to explore other areas like the private sector, donor agencies and public-spirited individuals for additional funding to complement government efforts.
You've done for teachers what the Civil Service Commission has not done for you. I have done a summary of all the outstanding promotions to His Excellency. There still work can be done, and His Excellency will definitely do something about the release of all outstanding promotions.
Earlier, the Permanent Secretary, State Secondary Education Board, Elder Akpan Solomon Akpan, had informed the head of civil service that they were in her office to congratulate her on her appointment, which he described as merited. He intimated her of problems faced by the board, which include deplorable state of infrastructure in secondary schools, lack of teaching equipment, inadequate funding and staff outstanding promotion, among others. The Permanent Secretary expressed the board's appreciation to the state governor for appointing Mrs. Ekarabong Akpan as the head of civil service, saying that they were confident that with her wealth of experience and track record, she will take the civil service to the next level.
He has no doubt chosen in your person the perfect fit for the job. Knowing your pedigree, honest integrity, talent, loyalty, remarkable skill set, passion for excellence, equity born out of best practice orientation, and an unwavering commitment to raising the bar in service delivery program for all public service workers.
Meanwhile, Mrs. Akpan has commended executives of the 18 and Institute Old Students Association for visiting to brief her on the forthcoming centenary celebration. The head of civil service, who graduated from the school in 1975, stated that the school laid a solid foundation in her and that she remains eternally grateful and proud of the institute. She commended them for keeping the flame of the institution burning and for exhibiting the spirit of hard work and integrity, which is a hallmark of the institution's products, and for showing genuine concern for the development of their alma mater. Mrs. Akpan charged the association to create a platform for mentorship of students to encourage and awaken the spirit of greatness within them. The head of civil service decried the dilapidating state of facilities in the school, but expressed the hope that government will soon come to its aid, but called on all students and public-spirited individuals to close ranks and work to remedy the situation, as government cannot do all alone. She assured the old students of her support towards the success of the centenary event. Earlier, the international president of the 18 and Institute Old Students Association, Etinosa, Mr. Patrick Johnston, congratulated her on her appointment, saying that it is a reward for hard work. He said they were in the office of the head of civil service to brief her on their forthcoming centenary celebration of 18 and Institute, which is scheduled for 17th to 20th December 2015, adding that plans are already in place for the celebration and solicited her support. The Commissioner for Information and Communications, Mr. Aneka Numana, has urged men in the state to imbibe the Dakada spirit as a propelling catalyst for the growth and development of the people and the state. The Commissioner gave the charge during the 2015 Annual Conference and Award presentation of the National Main Fellowship of Kwaibo Church, Nigeria, held at Kwaibo Church, Okwa Eket. Mr. Omana said as family heads, men should propagate the Dakada philosophy at home and in their neighborhood by urging indigenes to rise up and undertake profitable ventures that will better their lot. Represented by Deputy Director in the Ministry of Information and Communications, Mrs. Grace Akman, the Information Commissioner said Dakada is a clarion call to all to rise with optimism towards achieving greater goals in life and greater service to God and humanity, and urged the Church to embrace the philosophy. He congratulated the Kwaibo Church Nigeria National Men's Fellowship on the success of the 2015 Annual Convention and commended them for the well-thought-out theme of the convention, pressing towards the goal. Mr. Omana expressed appreciation to the National Men's Fellowship for honoring him with the award, stating that the gesture will serve as a booster to him for even greater service to God and humanity. The chairman on the occasion, Engineer Niekensen, congratulated the National Men's Fellowship for holding faith to the yearly annual convention since its inauguration in 2013 and charged the fellowship to keep up the tempo. Also speaking, the president of the National Men's Fellowship of Kwaibo Church Nigeria, Elder Basi Dowo, expressed gratitude to the Information Commissioner, Mr. Nyakanu Mana, for accepting to put God first in his life. He thanked the Kwaibo Church Nigeria National Conference for approving the 2015 National Men's Fellowship Conference and award presentation. The completed church building of the Assemblies of God Nigeria 20 Odo Street, Uyo, has been dedicated to God. The General Secretary of the Assemblies of God Nigeria, the Reverend Godwin Amao, dedicated the edifice. Correspondent Livingstone Daniel, who was at the service, reports that the edifice is to be known as Later House. The story is presented in our studios.
Ministers of the gospel who had served in the church at some point, as well as members who had left the assembly, were invited to the service. No wonder the church auditorium was filled, while joy pervaded the atmosphere, with members appreciating God in dances, while the House of Judah and triumphant choirs rendered pieces. The General Secretary of Assemblies of God Nigeria, Reverend Godwin Amawu, on arrival, inspected a guard of honor by the detachment of the Royal Rangers Nigeria, an involuntary organization of the church. Dedicating the building, the Reverend Amawu said he was happy that members have sacrificed a lot of resources and time to see its completion, noting that their good work will be rewarded by God. Right, and to strengthen their faith in God.
The Executive Committee of Nigeria, they are the President of God will you in district and hereby declare this blessing officially open for worship. I was in the name of the Father, and the Holy Spirit.
You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45Rio, on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. That's our package for this morning. But before we go, another look at the top stories. Governor Dom Emmanuel has condoled with the Etebets on the death of Chief Donald Etebet. The governor yesterday led his deputy and other top government functionaries on a condolence visit to the family at Ikodebuk, Orwana local government area. That was the news. Thanks for watching and do have a blessed day. And blessing is now here.